Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2 of this Puzzle Rush series. We are at 33 correct puzzles, no red X's yet. We're about to get into that territory where I start messing them up. I am settled in. I hope you are too. Let's get back into it. So, okay. We'd already been looking at this one, but we took a break on this puzzle, so we haven't actually explored it yet. But feels like this is a pretty simple idea. Now, I had first thought it'd be check, and you want to look at checks first and check here. Either way, however, king goes here, and even if we could get a rook here, that wouldn't matter because the king just starts to run away to someplace. So we got to look at other checks, and then we see, because we know the king is going here, we probably want to control that square. But we can do that by simply moving the knight. And then we see if we go here, which is check, actually, just mate in one. So fairly simple. Okay, is this an open door, shut door? So we have the H file open, okay? And we have a battery on it. So pretty clear. Now we do have to worry about this kind of thing, but that's actually just giving us some material. We are down a knight and a bishop. White has 2 of each. We have 1 of each. But we're mating the king. So what is open door, shut door? The king is looking to escape. And if the king could arrive safely somewhere, something like this, whatever, and cover up with all these extra pieces, they would be winning the game. So we have to make sure they can't run away. So it looks like the king wants to go here. So we probably want to close that up. And so what white did was they opened a door for the king to go out. So we want to shut the door. Okay. You see this a lot with the pawns in front of the king. You'll often see 2 pawns like this and 2 pawns like this. And then there's various interactions that they can have, like a push and push, stuff like that. So in this case, we see open door, so the king can go out. So what black wants to do is shut the door. And I think that's correct. I think it's just we want to go G3 so the king can't run away. And then there's no way to prevent the incoming checkmate right here. This is a fine check, but if the rook moves away, we'd rather go H1 mate. So I think the only other option we would have would be to check right away. Check. King here. Check. King here. And that doesn't look like there's any way to get to the king from there because the rook is attacking the queen and so forth. So I think it is just going to be setting the net first. The other name I have for this is a net set. You know what a mating net is. It's when you surround the king. So to set the net would be like, I call that a net set. So this is open door, shut door, which is a specific type of net setting. And I think that the only way white can get out of this is give us a little check, and then we take back, and then there's no more checks anywhere. I don't see any other defense, so let's go ahead and play it. We were right. Okay, so there was no defense. I guess white can just play anything they want, and they get mated next turn, pretty much. Okay, empty castle. Empty castle is when the dark squared bishop is supposed to be here, but it isn't. So what we want to do is take advantage of these 2 squares, and this looks like another version of Mayette's mate. Mayette's mate is a type of Alekhine mate, named after Alexander Alekhine. So I think we're going to go here, and if the king tries to run, we have a back rank formation, right? And and any other piece, and we get this rook in the back. Opera mate is another one of these, but opera mates, as far as I'm concerned, have to happen in the middle of the board. Like it would have to be rook here to be a mate. And the king would have to be where that rook is. King would have to be here. That's an opera mate. I think this is just Mayette's mate. Oh, we're in check. Yeah, see, I'm starting to get sloppy here, folks. I'm starting to get sloppy because I didn't even see that could be a check. So we don't want to go like this because a million blocks can happen. So we want to take with the knight. Okay, that's a distraction. Ta-da. Okay, I promise I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to calculate all the way to the end. That's my promise to you. Although I do love to see 3 rows of completed puzzles. We're all the way through 1940. I have noticed that they start giving you pairs of hundreds. So 1515, 1603, 1675, 1717, 1818. So this one is probably going to be 1990. Good year. And I actually don't see it right away. I do see that the rook is trapped. Is this a Zugzwang? I do actually kind of think that I do see it. So it's crazy though, right? Maybe not. Okay. The idea is take king up with the idea of mate coming. This is a side rank mate. And you can see that a lot. Aha. It's not that. It's not. It's actually rook here. Huh. So that's a good thing I didn't rush it. Okay, how do I see this? Thankfully, you guys are here. You helped me. I was going to rush this move. Take here and play it. And then the idea is to come across and checkmate on the next move. But I stopped to explain that this is a side rank mate. So we actually have this. And this is so super common when you have a pawn next to the king like this. Is he can't go out usually because there's something guarding him. His own pawn blocks him. And so because there's a pawn there, this square is by rule taken away. So you end up with this kind of this pocket where the king can't go. So the only way out is here and here. And because of that, you oftentimes get mates on the side rank. So anytime you see this formation, you should start thinking about side rank mates. All I have to do is deliver a rook to the side rank, and that's mate. Sometimes in other scenarios, you can actually bring the rook. Remember how I said the king can go to either 2 squares? The first move is play rook here, or like rook here or something, anywhere along this row. What that does, it takes both of them away. And then the king can't get out. And then for some reason, you mate next move. Very common formation. So in this case, I think we're just going to play it to the back. And now, remember what I told you in the last episode. If you think you have mate in 1, mate in 2, mate in 3, you can spend the rest of your clock looking for it. Because if you're right, then you don't need that time. The game is over. So that's what we'll do. So here, let's just go piece by piece. Let's start on the left. It's really good to have a system of thought. So this pawn, it's illegal to move. So we're done. Rook. Okay. Here, or here. Doesn't matter. Even this square doesn't matter because we will still go checkmate against all of those. Okay. So the rook is done. What about this pawn? It cannot move. What about this pawn? If it moves up, that's the only legal move it has. It's still checkmate. And finally, the king. No. Those are all illegal. This is illegal because of the king. So if it goes here, what next? Well, it's a side rank formation, right? So we mate. So that's how we do it. Now, I saw it right away, but if it was something more complicated, that's what I would do. I would just go left or right, every piece, check it the whole way down. Mate. Sweet. Okay. I mean, it's a puzzle, right? You got to en passant. Maybe we don't. I've seen puzzles where you don't, but there's 2 reasons why I think that's the right answer. One is it clears a bishop. It gets out of the bishop's way. And 2, it saves the attack it solves the problem of this queen being attacked. So let's look at the targets here. These are the undefended pieces plus the king. This and this. I mean, that looks pretty good. And nothing else is a target, I don't think. No, nothing else is a target. Okay, so we start to think about how we can get out of this. And what I see it right away is because I highlighted this thing, I really see it clearly. And so I say, oh, cool. There's targets on the same line. How can I deliver a vertical moving piece to it? I see I have queen and I have rook. So those pop to my mind immediately. Then I said, okay, I have these in a line. How can I get a piece to the back rank? Cannot. Doesn't work. And then I thought, how can I check the king? And I have this, and I have this. We don't want to go here because there's a rook there. So we don't want to try checking with the queen on the A file. So let's try check. Block with the bishop. We take it. Queen takes it. We take a knight. We want a piece. Second. Take. 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 We've won 2 pawns. So now we count the material, I think, and we see that we are down a pawn. Everybody has 3 minor pieces, 2 rooks and a queen. And 6 pawns to 6, actually. So we're not down. Okay. So the question is, do we want to win a piece? And is there any other option? Okay, so I'm leaning against this, actually. I don't think that's right. I do think it is check. And the knight can't block because there's a pawn there. Actually, the knight can block, but we'll take with the bishop, actually. The point is, this is a double attack. So I didn't find that by just like randomly searching the board. I found that because I highlighted the targets. And I said, how do I get a straight moving piece to here? How do I get something to the diagonal? And how do I get something to the back rank? And it turns out to going to the back rank is just not reasonable. No reason to think that that's possible. So now I see these 2 arrows. I just put it together. Diagonal moving piece and a piece right here. This should be it. So I definitely think it's this. Let's check. Let's check the check. If you block with the queen, I take it. If you block with the bishop, I take it. And then the idea is, yeah, it's a clearance. Let's make sure there's no like counter that would win a piece. I don't think there is. Sometimes like you're like, yeah, I take the knight, and then they go like, and checkmate. And so you're like, oh, I messed that up. So let's not do that. And I don't see anything. So yeah. 3 piece. Cool. All right. Empty castle? Not quite. Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sneaky, right? This isn't a pawn. This is a queen. So actually the rook is attacking that square. So yeah. I mean, this is not complicated. I think maybe what makes this difficult is people don't see that the rook is connected to the queen. They're used to seeing something like this. Better not drop that piece or I'll get a red X. So I'm pretty sure I'd take. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's forced mate, right? How do we find this? I don't know. It looks like a free puzzle. I mean, I don't know. So maybe people get it wrong because they don't see the sniper queen or they don't see the sniper rook. And playing slower puzzles, just you get those right. Okay, does anybody remember Phoenix's rule for pawn races? We count the number of steps until we're queen? No. We just look how far up the board we are and see if there's any way to interfere with that. So what we see here is we have a runner. Okay. And it's on the 3rd rank. So basically it's when you're calculating pawn races, the 3rd rank and the 2nd rank don't matter. They're the same thing because pawns can move 2 squares on the first move. So either way, it's 1 move until the center of the board. So we treat these 2 pawns the same, basically, when we're counting. So what I see is that we have a runner that's on the 3rd. And here I have a runner that is about to get made on the 5th and then the 6th. So we'll go 5 and then 5 if they try to run this pawn. But the difference is, and here's a fun thing to know, when you have 2 against 1, whether they take and you take, those 2 moves cancel each other out. If they don't take you, you don't need to take them back. I'll show you what I mean. let's say we push and they go here. When the very next move is a pawn on the 6th. Bang. Right? Okay. Because I played the pawn on the 6th, if they take and we take, we still have a pawn on the 6th. Nothing has changed. If they don't take, what do we have? Pawn on the 6th. So either way, the next pawn move, not counting these 2 captures, is going to be to the 7th. So I go like this. I say 5th. In my brain, I go, then the next move is 6th. The next move is 7. The next move is queen. So I call that a runner. When a pawn can just go up the board 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 queen, I call that a runner. So if I go here, 5, I have a runner on 5. They'll go here. They do not have a runner. Why? Because the king is in the way. So they actually have a runner on 4. You just -1 for the fact that they're going to have to move a king. Okay. So if they move the king, we will queen. So I basically calculate this as I go 5, and they go not to 5, they go to 4 because of the -1. So I go 5, they go 4. I go 6, they go 5. I go 7, they go 6. I go 8, they go 7. I'm first to queen. So I don't think I need to do anything special here. The other thing we have to do is figure out why are we not able to go like this. I think probably because then they go here. And then we aren't in time. They're going to get their runner on the 5th. They're going to have a runner on the 4th at that point. As soon as this king moves out, they get the runner. Why? Because it can't be stopped. So I think I just go here. Remember that this trade doesn't count because they're canceling moves. They both cancel each other out. So I think that's it. And if we push this pawn and then they go here, some other times this is check in this case. It won't always be check. Sometimes your king will be elsewhere, like over here. In which case, your next move doesn't have to be capture. It can also still just be a pawn on the 6th. So that doesn't change the count, is the point. It doesn't change the count. So it looks like I go 5, 6, 7, 8, and they go 5, blank, 6, 7. I think I'm ready to play it. I got to tell you, this is one of my weaknesses. This is definitely one of my weaknesses is not the calculation, but rather like all the techniques and the defenses. Here, right? I go 5, they go 4. Either way, it's a pawn on the 4th. Whether they run this pawn or move the king and run this pawn, it seems to be the same. The other thing you got to look at is, do they queen with check? No, they don't. So we're good. I think I just go here. Yeah. I go here. I go here. I go here. And what I tell you, there's that one move. You see how I have a pawn on the 7th and they don't? So I'm going to queen. Game. What's a trick? I mean, this looks like a lot of different moves all work. Okay, this is one of the ones I find particularly hard because it looks like everything works. You have to find the defenses. So, okay, first thing I see, all right, let's look at the targets. This is actually not a target. If you were like me, your eyes just immediately went to this, right? Okay. Because this is defended twice and only attacked once, it's actually not a target. So the chances of us taking this are small. That's probably not the answer. You can drop that one immediately. And then now let's look at this. This is attacked once, defended once. So it is a target. So we could take here, but then it looks like at a minimum, they take the queen and then threaten to come back. So they take the queen, we have to take it back, and then they take us, and then we're not winning anything. So that doesn't seem to be right. So I think taking here is wrong and taking here is wrong. So it's probably take this. And this is what I was curious about. I mean, it looks like this is just a free rook. Everything else is protected. How about if we help? It would help if I noticed them in check, right? That would be a good, that would be a good thing to notice. You probably want to notice that. It's kind of funny. You see that in the game, but there's nothing on the puzzle that tells you that. You just have to see it yourself. Okay, so let's try something else. You can still take the queen. It's just not going to be winning the queen. You might get a better position, or you could deflect the knight or something like that. It's just simply, you're not going to win material on this square. So maybe let's revisit, because it does get us out of check. So let's say we check, or we take this check. Knight will take in order to keep the rook guarded. And then I see. Two things are hanging, right? If I take here, okay, so maybe my first instinct was right. It's just not that you're just not winning material there. It's not even that you're winning the rook or anything, really. It's this pawn. It's the pawn that really makes the difference. If this pawn weren't here, the tactic doesn't work. Why? Because the knight comes back. So it is the fact that this is targeted 3 times and defended just twice. So that's it. So this is the point, is you win the material. So it does look like it's just going to be this, and we take a rook. Alternatively, this, which is just bad, and we take a rook. I'm pretty sure it's going to be knight. Knight comes in. I mean, looks good to me. I do have to get out of check. This is almost hanging, by the way. In fact, yeah, because white can trade off the defender. This is only defended twice and attacked twice. And so white can trade off the defender. So I think we are just going to do this. Okay. What do you know? So the fact that I was in check changes things, and the fact that the pawn was attacking the rook changes things. So what we have here is we have a pin on the bishop, and it's attacked. Looks like this is takeable, except for the fact that there's a knight there. And if we could just take the knight, that would be great too. But unfortunately, we can't because of the pin. So queen attacks the king attacks the rook attacks the bishop attacks the knight, but unfortunately the rook attacks the king. So we're probably just gonna take here, right? Because that's the only move. And then we go check, and the king has to go there, and then we go check, and that checks the king off of the rook. Okay, so targets: undefended, undefended, weakly defended, weakly defended. Why is it weak? 1 to 1, 1 to 1 and 1, and then this is undefended. So that's a target too. And as I told you in previous runs, anytime something is attacked twice and defended once in a puzzle, you probably are just going to take it right away. So I do think it's this. This is the only legal move. Normally, you'd want to go knight check, but you can't. And in fact, well, you'd want to go queen here, but you can't. So we're just going to check in the back. He'll go here, and this is what the key was for me, is that broke the pin. Once the king interferes with the rook, it breaks the pin. What we're going to do, though, is we're probably going to follow up with this rook check, and then we will have a checking off scenario where we check the king away from the rook. Notice the queen is attacking the rook. So let's go ahead and do it. And I think we go check. King here, take this. Yeah. So notice that it's a very tenuously held rook, right? Like barely held. So I'm pretty sure we're just going to have to go with this rook, although I'm wondering what's wrong with this. I guess that just is a useless check that doesn't do anything. It just, yeah, that's why it's just useless. It doesn't, it actually helps white. So yeah, okay. And now can I just take and just check and see if there's any quick checkmates or anything like that. We can't go to any of these two squares. There's a knight here. I think we just take a rook. Am I going to get mated? If I take this rook, like this is almost mate, but I can actually block it. And then there's no more like useful checks. Like you can give away this rook and take my bishop, but it won't matter because the queen can come back down and we're fine. Knight can check, but I just go here. So that's also fine. So there's actually no reason I can't take the rook. And I think that that's probably it. I wonder if they're going to throw in this check and I block with the bishop. Oh, I could also go here. So no, both of these work, so we're not going to have to actually play it. Oh, well, that's even easier. You're telling me only one move wins here? Why? Why does it matter? I wasn't expecting this. Either way, I should be winning. I have an extra rook. If I take with the king, queen takes your check. And then if I go here, queen goes here or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the exact finish is there, but oh, I can't go there. So I'd go here, queen check here, and then like check, and it. Yeah, okay. So there's no reason to allow any of that. I probably just want to take with the queen because this check is fine because I'll just pop out and there's no more checks. Notice, I love it when you figure out why there's a stupid pawn here in a puzzle. Like you don't see that from the beginning. And then you realize it's so that the queen can't go like this and check me yet again. Not that that's the only way that could happen, but like it's still cute that, oh, they stuck a pawn there just so. So let's go like this. Yeah, and we win. Cool. 42 puzzles. That's the 2200 level puzzles. And I'm going to give this probably 3 more minutes and then we're going to call that episode 2. I'd love to get to 45 if we could. So we're playing white. We have to defend what is a pretty dangerous situation here. If we go here, we get checked. We have to go back and then check. Then we go here, and black just has a queen, like an extra queen. So I think we're going to have to go like this, and then when they go like this, we actually go check. That makes a ton of sense. So why? All right, so when you're queening a pawn, usually you want to put like a rook here, and then that supports the queening square. So, and also it prevents, like, for example, this rook or anything else from coming down to the back rank. So I think we are going to just have to play this. I mean, I am in check, and this is just obviously bad. That's damn near mating. So if I go here, I think I get checked and queen again. Oh no, they just queen right away with mate. So that's pretty easy. So this is bad, this is bad, this is illegal, that's illegal. I think we just gotta go like this. That's it. Okay, I think it was that the rook comes down and then the knight checks and then the rook takes it. And because otherwise, if the rook doesn't take it, then the knight covers the queening square. So anyway. Sometimes I swear I don't know why. Just some puzzles, they're just so straightforward, easy. It was one move, and the other two are mate and ones. Like, not literally mate and ones, but obviously I'm not gonna let him queen with check, have a queen and a rook hunting my king. So I don't know why they're easy, but like if you just take your time and look and think it all through, consider all your options, you'll do well. We're through 43 here without any errors. I'm loving it. Can I do this one quickly? Let's see. I am white. This is a problem. And it's probably just this and then this, right? I mean, this is a classic mate. Here, and then I can mate on either of the 2 squares with the knight. The knight can guard one of them. Can guard just one. And then I mate on the other. And if the knight goes here to guard this square, I mate on this square. That's got to be it, right? The pawns don't matter. Any of these moves, they don't prevent mate. And then you can't move your king out of the way or anything. So let's do a net set here. Okay, that's pretty good. I think I'm comfortable cutting it off right here. I think that 44 is a really good run. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. Hope you learned something. If you did, drop it in a comment. Nobody seems to want to leave me comments, even though they watch a lot of the video. So if you learned something, leave a comment, and I will see you for episode 3, apparently. We'll see how far we go.